Sri Lanka's 73rd Independence Day yesterday. It was D.S. Senanayake, the first Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, who hoisted the flag of independence in 1948. Although the first President of Sri Lanka, who replaced Queen Elizabeth's governor, was appointed much later in 1972. That was Sir William Gopalava. Ceylon was a member of the Commonwealth until 1972. With that tidbit about our independence, here's welcoming you to Kaleidoscope with me, Savithri Rodrigo. We have two super gifts coming up on our Valentine special next week. A gift voucher worth 5,000 rupees from customized lingerie store Dark Angels, and a luxurious hamper made for a romantic evening from Park Street Gourmet. This is the Union flag, which in 1815 became the national flag of Ceylon. And this is the flag that was hoisted on Independence Day by D.S. Senanayake in 1948. And it was in 1972 that the flag we use today came into being, marking the country's name change from Ceylon to Sri Lanka. Now here's our Kaleidoscope snapshot. Inflation dipped to 3% in January, with food inflation dropping from 9.2% in December to 6.8% in January. Private sector credit accelerated to 76.7 billion rupees in December from 41.4 billion rupees in November. PET and PVC polythene packing for agrochemicals, single-use sachets, inflatable toys and plastic cotton buds will be prohibited from the end of March 2021. The Kolpiti market is due to get a major facelift, with the 1-acre space earmarked for a 40-story mixed development project. The government of Japan has appointed Darshan Munidasa, the man who took Japanese cuisine in Sri Lanka to a whole new level, as Japanese Cuisine Goodwill Ambassador. US pharmaceutical chain Walgreens makes history with the only black female CEO leading a Fortune 500 company. This is Independence Memorial Hall, commemorating the site of the first independence. The building, designed by a team of notable architects, 8 of them in all, on the lines of the Mughal Madua, the Royal Audience Hall of the Kingdom of Kandy. Many of our industries are built on people-to-people contact. The insurance industry is one such, where the entirety of the industry is built on relationships. With the pandemic, people-to-people contact became a thing of the past. I asked Executive Chairman of Selinco Life, R. Ranganathan, how companies like his, which thrives on this people-to-people recipe, can be successful despite the pandemic.
A business continuity plan was available. This had to be amended slightly to meet the current situation. Masks and sanitizers were provided throughout the company. Starting from the board of directors, they were divided into 2 teams, A and B. One team would work from office while the other team worked from home. The sales staff were trained to speak to customers on the phone. Proposals were submitted electronically. Signatures were obtained electronically. There was once again widespread use of messaging apps such as WhatsApp, and online plans were introduced. The directors held online meetings with the heads of department. The heads of department held online meetings with their subordinates, and messaging apps like WhatsApp was extensively used to communicate both with the staff and the customers.
Sri Lanka's stock market hit some snags this week, with the ASPI having the biggest single-day points loss in history. This week, the all share price index was down by 4.9%, while the daily turnover remained healthy, averaging 12.5 billion rupees. WTI oil prices rose above $55 per barrel, reaching a 1-year high, as Saudi Arabia confirmed it would reduce its crude oil production by an additional 1 million barrels per day. Gold seems to have lost its luster this year, with prices falling over the last month by more than 5%. Gold is currently trading at $1,835 per ounce. With the AstraZeneca vaccine being rolled out now in Sri Lanka, the questions that have arisen are many. The brilliance of even getting a vaccine off the ground in just under a year is a feat in itself, but it also poses some questions given the speedy rush of it all. Chief Growth Officer of ODOC, Nare Bandaranayake, answered some questions which technically are elephants in the room.
Today we are here to talk to you about a few questions regarding the vaccines that you may be having. Number one, were the vaccines rushed? Short answer, no. The vaccines were able to come to market in 9 to 10 months simply because it's a pandemic. So governments were more willing to fund this research, scientists were able to collaborate globally, and number three, volunteers were available freely to join in these trials. Number two, are the vaccines safe? Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca have all gone through phase 1, 2 and 3 clinical trials which were set up to ascertain the safety and efficacy of their vaccine candidates. The data has been published, is freely available for the public, but has also been reviewed and authorized by the FDA, EU authorities and the WHO. No severe adverse reactions have been reported, especially given that millions have been inoculated since December. Number three, will the mRNA alter my DNA? Short answer is no, the mRNA will not enter into your cell's nucleus. It stays in the cytoplasm. It recreates the spike protein or the outer shell of the virus and sends it out into the bloodstream for your immune system to create antibodies to fight against it.
Glam and bling, glitter and shine was spotted at Haute Couture Fashion Week 2021. The 6 most beautiful pieces of jewellery were Chanel strass body chains, Fendi's statement earrings, Dior's pearl tiara, Schiaparelli's body jewellery, Victor and Rolf's face jewellery and Alexis Mobile's party girl earrings.
With Srilanka Life Pension Saver, Sri Lanka's premier retirement plan, start planning for a retirement today. Srilanka Life, a relationship for life.
It's been 73 years of independence for this little island nation, a nation that had it all, a true paradise that had prosperity written in the stars. But it was not to be. Into our studio this week, we invited President's Council and Member of Parliament M.A. Sumantharan to check with him what exactly Sri Lanka's report card was like since independence. Mr. Sumantharan, what are the key issues that Sri Lanka has faced since independence?
Well, I could think of two very important issues. One is majoritarianism, which I think has afflicted us ever since independence, and we are not out of those woods yet. The other is education, the system of education that we have followed. We've had free education, free health services, etc. But somehow the direction in which our education policies have been formulated have been a serious issue for the country.
If you took a SWOT analysis of Sri Lanka right now, what would it look like?
Opportunities there are, but only if some of those weaknesses can be actually turned upside down. The key weakness seems to be our attitude to our own selves. Somehow thinking, having this siege mentality that we are surrounded by all aggressive forces, all out to get us. Most of our problems are our reaction to that kind of mentality. So we hit out any good advice that comes from a good source with good intention. We view it with great suspicion.
What are the key ingredients needed for unity and reconciliation?
For unity and reconciliation, one, you need to acknowledge that we are a plural society, that we are not homogeneous, that there are people from different ethnic backgrounds, people who speak different languages, people who have different faiths and beliefs. All constitute this country, and secondly, that all of them are equal citizens, irrespective of the numbers. Each one of them is an equal citizen, and the groups that they belong to also have equal rights.
Having had 73 years of independence as a country, what should our report card look like?
Well, Sri Lanka's report card ought to have looked much better than Japan. I won't even say Singapore, but much better than even Japan. We had everything going for us. We had economic stability, we had human resources, education, a manageable population, even natural resources that were necessary, all of that, and yet because of our attitudes and this view that somehow everyone out in the rest of the world is out to get us, has I think done us in.
Equality is the soul of liberty. There is in fact no liberty without it. Celebrating independence devoid of the understanding that all citizens are equal in this country while celebrating each other's differences is what gives us liberty and freedom as a nation. And until we realize that, there will be no independence for any of us in the real sense of the word. Thank you very much, Mr. Sumandaran, for joining us on Selinko Life. Let's talk.
With Selinko Life Pension Saver, Sri Lanka's premier retirement plan, start planning for your retirement today. Selinko Life, a relationship for life.
And still on the subject of independence, Sam Pereira is back with some independence reads on Singer Life in 60. On Singer Life in 60 today, publisher of Pereira Hussein Publishing House, Sam Pereira, is back with two awesome coffee table books, both with extraordinary stories to tell.
As you might know, Dr. Malathi Dialvis, who was a superb researcher and a very nice person, left us recently. But before she left us this legacy of a superb coffee table type book, The Archive of Memory. And this was done to commemorate 70 years of independence. And in it you have superb little anecdotes with beautiful photographs that accompany them in black and white. This is a story related by Sunetra Bandaranaike about her mother, and she says that when the mother was born, the family astrologer said Raja Venava. This one is by Sumitra Piris, who tells us about the Golden Peacock Award that her husband Lester James Piris won, and when he passed away she kept the Golden Peacock Award at his funeral. And she was of course disappointed to find out that one of the mourners who came for the funeral had taken away the Golden Peacock Award. Again, typically Sri Lankan. Very, very, very recently launched, just a few weeks ago, a superb coffee table book on the artist, the Buddhist monk turned artist LTP Manjusri. It's written by Shamil Vanigaratna, and he's incorporated lots of beautiful artwork by Manjusri, which is so original. I mean, he's one artist whose artwork is hanging even in the Smithsonian. This is a limited print run, and if I were you, I'd run out to a bookshop and get yourself a copy.
You heard Sam. Both books are must-haves. So get onto that website and get yourself a copy now. Both books are masterpieces. And now let's celebrate Valentine's Day next week. This is very especially for our subscribers and followers on Facebook and Instagram. We have a voucher worth 5,000 rupees from the very romantic, highly exciting range of Dark Angels lingerie, and a customized, very luxurious hamper from Park Street Gourmet with a bottle of bubbly, chocolates, cookies, and of course, love cake, the ideal formula to celebrate Valentine's Day. Oh, and we'll be back at Park Street Gourmet on our next week's show too, so you can check out some of the amazing goodies they have. Now, to win our two gifts for Valentine's Day, all you have to do is to let us know what Cupid holds in his hands. Send in your answer with your contact details to kaleidoscopeweekly1@gmail.com or WhatsApp it to 071 41 99941 before Thursday, the 11th of next week. We will announce our two winners just in time for Valentine's Day on our next program. And as we leave you, don't forget, sanitize. There's Amami hand sanitizer in bag and pocket sizes. Very, very handy indeed. And now here's our Kaleidoscope takeaway. We may have different religions, different languages, different colored skin, but we all belong to one human race. Kofi Annan.